Americas. I must have done something right. Look at this table right now. Janusz Mihalik, Hercules Gomez, Shaka Hislop. Welcome to Football Americas.
Full house. We got a full house on this Thursday.
Yes. Full house for a full show coming up. Red, white, and rossoneri. We are, of course, going to talk about Pochettino's future. Neymar, already doubtful for his World Cup debut. But first, we have to start with Mauricio Pochettino. And he has again been linked to another European club. This time, it's AC Milan. Yes, because the U.S. men's national team coach is already gearing up for the World Cup, which is 2 weeks away at this point. But now he has to tone down some rumors. He reportedly met with AC Milan to discuss the possibility to take over the Rossoneri after the World Cup, which is when Poch's contract ends with U.S. soccer. Now, this isn't the first time the U.S. head coach has been connected to a European club during his gig with the national team. But here's how Poch responded already to the Milan reports. Again, he said, did Mauricio Pochettino or his reps meet with Milan? Quote, maybe, possible, but, quote, people that question my commitment are people that want to create some problems, the U.S. men's national team coach said. Quote, our commitment is the World Cup and we are focused on the World Cup. This is per Paul Tenorio on social media. And it seems like this is the trend that we've seen with Mauricio Pochettino. Shaq, I want to start with you because, again, 2 weeks out of the World Cup, this isn't the first time that he's had to kind of shut those rumors down.
All things happening in a vacuum,
yes.
I don't necessarily have an issue with it.
Yeah.
Given the fact that his contract is up with U.S. Soccer Federation at the end of the World Cup, and I think it's just silly from a professional perspective not to think about what should come next. Pochettino is a highly regarded coach, highly sought-after coach. Don't have an issue with it. My issue starts to take shape when we're reminded that we're 2 weeks out, or maybe a few more, from Pochettino questioning Timothy Weah's commitment when he says, on behalf of the soccer supporting public in the U.S., that FIFA ticket prices are too high. Pochettino takes that opportunity to have a go at Timothy Weah, telling him that he needs to focus on the World Cup and nothing else. Yet it's okay for Mauricio Pochettino to be talking to European clubs about what's to come next. This is just the height of contradiction. I honestly do not know how he somehow justifies that it's okay for him to be talking to other clubs, yet somehow it's wrong for Timothy Weah to advocate on behalf of the soccer supporting public of the United States. I just do not get it. It beggars belief at this point.
Shaq makes a good point. We understand why he's looking for a job. Herc, it's after the World Cup. But the question is, how big of a distraction could this be for Pochettino himself, for the U.S. men's national team?
Okay. I've read a lot of people and heard a lot of people online and personal perspectives. Well, you were a footballer, and certainly if you were going into a big event, there were opportunities for you at a different club. I had the same thing happen. Right before the 2010 World Cup, I'm negotiating with multiple clubs, correct?
Yep.
I'm not worried about being the manager of a club that needs to plan a preseason, of a club that needs to plan future signings, of a club that needs to plan a project, because you don't have a sporting director, you don't have a president, they cleaned house. I cannot divide my attention in managing 26 players and what's to come, and three different game plans for the group phase and what's to come, and thinking about this project. And to go to the hypocrisy, that Shaq is talking about, Brentford, Tottenham Hotspur at every turning corner, Real Madrid, that's all we hear, is Pochettino flirting with other clubs. In the same breath, he's mentioned a possible extension with the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah.
And then he goes off in these crazy tangents where he tells the president of the United States that they're going to win the World Cup, where he tells the people of a television network the day they're going to play against Belgium that in this very venue, we are going to play in the semifinal of the World Cup. And then against a possible next round opponent, they eat 5 goals. They didn't win that game, by the way. They didn't score 6.
Yeah.
If you want to be a true footballing country, as Mauricio Pochettino likes to remind us that the U.S. is not, that come on, guys, this is the way it is in the rest of the world. Julian Lopetegui was negotiating with Real Madrid. The Spanish Federation found out about it in 2018. They fired him days before the World Cup. 2 days before the World Cup. Fernando Hierro takes over. In that World Cup, they end up bowing out to Russia in penalty kicks. If he really wants a sporting culture like Argentina, like England, this would not stand. None of this would stand. So the hypocrisy, which Shaq harps on, which I am with him, is amazingly tone deaf here. It is incredibly tone deaf. Are these players professional enough for it not to affect them? Sure.
Agreed.
Is Pochettino professional enough where he can do 2 jobs at once in a competition that is played every 4 years and represents a country of 350 million? That's where I'm lost.
It's hard to argue with the hypocrisy, Shaka. You threw me for a loop here a little bit. At the end of the day, he said that it's people like you guys that are creating problems, questioning his commitment.
Who, the
don't know.
pundits?
Look,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to totally push back on that because there's a lot of truth in what you say. But, I mean, maybe he wasn't offered anything. Maybe he feels uneasy. Let's not forget about the fact we're talking about the commitment and maybe for him to commit a little bit longer. But, you know, he hasn't. You know, the test comes in a couple of weeks. We don't even know if he's good enough to be here, right? And to question the fact, as you've mentioned, to maybe go up, same at the moment, right? Ralf Rangnick, maybe the sporting director for the same team we're talking about, Milan, right? I don't think Austria is losing any sleep. I didn't see any pushback on Ralf Rangnick supposedly talking to Milan because he may be sporting director. So I get what you say, but I think we're looking at something we don't even know if we want Pochettino to be the manager after the World Cup, right? I, for one, think that 4 years is enough, and I think there should be a change. So let's wait and see at the moment, and we'll see where that leads. But yeah, I think we're sometimes creating these problems. For me, it's not that big of a deal. He'd be crazy, absolutely crazy, if at the moment he wasn't looking at options.
No, but to your point, Janusz, we aren't creating these problems. I think he's kind of...
I just want to get his quote. Just want to get that quote.
He's making the rules. He's making the rules that we are following. Right. If you criticize Timothy Weah for advocating for U.S. soccer fans, then you do not get to have conversations on the side with other clubs. And to your point, while we don't know that those conversations are happening for absolute certain, there is an awful lot of smoke. And there have been a lot of opportunities for him to throw a lot of water on that smoke, including this time around. If you're not having those conversations, no, I'm not. No, well, maybe.
Possibly.
I mean,
like, come on. We weren't born yesterday. And this is the 4th time that we're having this kind of conversation surrounding Mauricio Pochettino.
And that's my point. While we could sit here and say we don't know for certain, there is just too much smoke for us to ignore this. There really is too much. And to your point, and I'll stand by this, he keeps making the rules judged. We judge him by those rules, and then there's pushback because we're being harsh. I don't see that as being harsh. You said you dictated how you are to be judged as U.S. men's national team coach. We are judging you by those directives.
Yep.
You don't get to push back against that now.
That's perfectly said. I mean, Janusz brings up Ralf Rangnick, who's maybe in line for AC Milan. Is Ralf Rangnick questioning Austria's sporting culture?
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Ralf Rangnick?
Is the U.S. is that their target?
Yeah.
We can do as well as Austria. Is that why they pay Mauricio Pochettino the $6 million a year, or whatever it is, to be as good as Austria? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's just very difficult to understand. And again, this may not affect the players at all. It may not affect the overall standing. And Janusz is right. The true test is going to come in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And for all the negativity that has endured, or he has endured, and I think he's made himself an easy target for in the last year, it all goes away with a good showing. But if not, we're going to be reminded of Mauricio Pochettino, and every single time he's pointed the finger at the U.S. fan base, at the U.S. culture, at U.S. soccer, we're going to be reminded how Matt Crocker jumped ship right before the World Cup.
Yes.
There is nobody here to be in his ear at this moment and say, hey, maybe not a good idea. Or, hey, when they ask you today, maybe we just say, I want to focus on the World Cup. He's not. He's playing by his own rules. So the subject of him being criticized, I don't feel sorry for him. And maybe he's going to have another sleepless night.
He could plead the fifth, like you said, saying, "Hey, we're focused on the World Cup. I don't want to talk about. We're focused on the World Cup. Period."
Yeah,
but let's talk.
That's our problem,
Janusz,
though. I mean, we're so sensitive about this. I mean, the level of critique. If I'm Pochettino, I don't even think twice about that. Imagine the pressure.
But he has.
No, I don't.
He said yesterday was bullshit, and today he's saying that they're trying to.
Because that's a little bit of tough love. The sort of player.
But he's been very defensive.
Do you think the pressure? I mean, do you think? For Pochettino, if he was a manager of Argentina, or pressure on
he wouldn't be manager today if this happened in Argentina.
No, I mean the pressure over there would be tenfold, hundredfold.
Exactly, Jonas. You think you go through the string of results he went through in Argentina, and he's still standing today?
No, but my point is that we hang on to these what I consider little problems. Now, you have the rights to criticize him. I'm not saying that, but it seems that in our environment, little things like that, we start to focus, about Pochettino.
Jonas, it's not our environment. It's Argentina's environment. It's England's environment.
Right,
it's Mexico's environment. It's a sporting culture that he criticizes that you don't have environment.
But the pressures are tenfold. But here we're trying to build this unbelievable program. We talk about what United States can or cannot do. I mean, these things can be like mutually exclusive. He can be a little bit hypocritical. First, he's the boss. Nobody's perfect. But I think to say sort of one thing and do another one, I think like many managers that come here, they look at this and all the criticism about U.S. soccer, the culture, the players not wanting to come in, but the lack of toughness maybe, not just, for critique in general. We're like, oh my God, Pochettino might be looking for this.
You think this is harsh criticism?
He said this to Tim.
Janis, you think this is harsh criticism?
This is nothing.
In another country, he wouldn't be able to go outside. Do you think this is harsh criticism?
I'm just surprised that Pochettino took it as seriously as he did. I would have dismissed this totally.
And that's my point here. You can't say Pochettino is issuing tough love and showing tough love in this way, but then when the table is turned, find the criticism too harsh.
He deflects a lot.
Exactly. If you have, not just in football, not just in national team football, in life, you have got to be able to take as good as you can give. You're giving tough love, fine. But then if criticism comes back at you in a similar manner, you don't then get to cry wolf. You really don't. And that for me is where I have a huge disconnect with Pochettino and how he's gone about things. From the time he's arrived as U.S. men's national team, it's almost as though he's been lecturing the soccer supporting public about what it takes to craft a successful program, a successful national team, a deep World Cup run, and any pushback he gets on that, he seems to resent or have an issue with. I don't get it. If you're being harsh towards somebody else and somebody else comes back as harsh to you, you do not then get to cry, oh man, this is a little tough.
Yeah, I don't think he cries, but I think the foreign coaches that come, he's very similar to my coach, Bora.
How are you going to say he doesn't cry when he's 3 days ago he sits to defend emailing the players who don't make the squad and takes the tone that he does.
Let's run back his response to Jeff Carlisle as well, by the way.
Exactly. It is beyond me how he speaks to people, and then when people criticize that, he takes offense to it.
Bora did a lot of that. He ended up doing fine in '94 World Cup. I think it's the disconnect. Foreign coaches still see the lack of.
Third place.
What do you mean?
If the U.S. men's national comes out third place in this World Cup, that's not doing fine. If they go out,
But in '94, you come out of the top group. Yeah, but you lose one.
But to your point, Janis,
and Bora cried 10 times more.
To your point, Janis, if the U.S. finishes third or whatever it is the bar here, You say, well, fine, Pochettino got that right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we get that right, and we eat our words.
What
But
is his own bar?
we cannot sit here, be lectured to in this way, be spoken to in this way, not respond, or reserve our response for at the end of the World Cup, depending on where the US gets, in which case, he's already off.
See,
we already know.
We're not used to lecturing here. That's the problem. Everything is nice.
But
Everything's got to be exactly that. That is the
No,
problem.
but there's a
And
difference
I'm
between
gonna-
lecturing and being defensive, and it seems
Yeah,
that
defensive,
everything.
you're right.
It seems
I'm
that
surprised at that.
everything that has been
you-
asked, even the
Giannis,
simplest questions, have been met
When he
with
tells the
defensive.
president of the United States they're going to win the World Cup, what's your immediate reaction? What are your
Yeah, but I mean, I remember in our time, Sunil Gulati
That
said that
part,
we're going to be world
Sunil-
champions
Sunil-
by
Sunil
2010.
Gulati doesn't know anything about
These are
football.
world.
That part I
world-
don't care about. You say,
Well,
as a head coach, you say
it's
these
very.
things.
What I'm trying to say is, with Mauricio Pochettino, it's very simple. It's very easy just to use words and expect people not to hold on to those words. And he backs himself into a corner with what he says and how he says it. And it's very easy to say you want a real sporting culture. You want it to be like in Argentina, his words.
Yeah.
You want it to be like in England. You want it to be like in Mexico. But when they hold you to that standard, he gets defensive.
You don't like it. Yep.
And that's the issue.
He's not getting a criticism
Defensive
that he'd
part.
get in any of those countries,
All
by
right,
the way.
we gotta move on. I mean, we can talk about this all day, truly, and I'm sure we will down the road, especially when the World Cup kicks off with Mauricio Pochettino. But the reality is that even if he does get to AC Milan, he's not going to